For more on the potential economic fallout of impeachment and what it means for President Trump's agenda, let's bring in our guest, Senator Mike Braun. He's a Republican from Indiana. And Senator, thanks for being with us this morning.
Good to be on.
How are you surveying this, not only in terms of what it means politically, but also in terms of what it means economically and what it means for the potential for any legislation getting done in Washington?
Well, politically, it evokes the song "At Last." We've been dealing with this idea of impeachment. Unlike with Nixon and Clinton, there was not the pronouncement that we're going to impeach and try to get rid of our president before there was actually some crime. And here, the Democrats have to really be disappointed politically that the Mueller report flopped. They calculated they don't have a lot of time, especially with 5 senators running for president on the other side. Rush this through. Mitch McConnell made a perfect point. They're now trying to, do what they should have done more thoroughly in the House, wanting us to adopt rules that let them further litigate. So when independents in the swing states started showing that they were getting enough of this 2-3 weeks ago, it's got to be excruciating for them politically. When it comes to the economic impact and effects, we are going to see, once we remove the haze and the static of impeachment discussion, that the economy is as strong as it's ever been, and people will hear more about it. Things like household incomes going up $5,000 a family, when it only went up $1,000 through the 16-year stretch of Bush and Obama. Record low unemployment. I'm a Main Street entrepreneur, and I can tell you, and I know you had Rick Scott on earlier, we are probably the 2 people in the Senate that can really say, is this economy good? Yes, it is. It's as good as it's ever been. So I look forward to being able to talk about that. And yes, President Trump is battle tested. He'll get through this, and I think his agenda and the benefits of it will become very clear.
In terms of what you see in the economy, how important do you think it was to reach a phase 1 deal with China, at least an agreement to cease fire and stop throwing rocks at each other?
Well, that was a part that was so sanctimonious on the part of people berating him, where they've been talking about China and so forth all along. President Trump had the nerve to take him on. Geopolitically, China is our challenge in the future. And now, since they are so much more dependent on us than we are on them, and that was President Trump's calculation all along, we now see that coming to fruition. You take that, you take the USMCA and the best economy we've ever had, and the fact that they've been wanting, what got me when I looked at the clips from November, December of 16, January before he was inaugurated, people talking about removing a president. That has teed off a lot of people, and I think the ballot box will show that in November of 2020.
Hey, Senator, I think if you look at the country, both sides are pretty entrenched. People who thought he should be removed before still think that. People who didn't think he should be removed before still think that. You're talking about a pretty thin margin of people in the middle. I just wonder, as we look at both sides becoming so entrenched, is there any chance that the 2 sides would work together to pass other legislation next year? Is Eamon right? Is this going to be a situation where there's very little that gets done? I know that often happens in an election year, but this year would be even less getting done. And by this year, I mean next.
There were 80 U.S. senators that weighed in on health care. Mm-hmm. If that's not getting a 2x4 across the head for the health care industry, I took health care on 11 years ago in my own business. Found a solution because it was that big a deal 11 years ago. The industry is digging in, not wanting to reform itself, but yes, on prescription drug prices, transparency. If they fight that when almost every senator's got an idea how to make them better at it, I think we'll come together on it. Sadly, that probably will be it, because it's like the Hatfields and McCoys here. One side believes in big government and more of it, and even many in my own party. As you see the NDAA, which we voted on, the budget today, there aren't many of us that really know how to fix it or have the political will to do it. But healthcare, I think, is the critical issue. I think climate in the long run will be something that we discuss, and I'm glad that some of us on the Republican side now are involved in the discussion so we don't get rolled like we did with Obamacare, back when we drug our feet.